Leaders in Conversation with Nomazibulo Tshanga.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Leaders in Conversation with Nomazibulo Tshanga. Today, as usual, I'm not alone. I'm with this amazing leader, Chanelle Prinsloo. She's a National Marketing Director for Ferrari South Africa. And we are going to have a leadership conversation. We're going to talk about all things career and all things women inclusivity in the workplace. Welcome.
Thank you, Noma. Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor to be here on your amazing platform. And yeah, I'm very excited. Thank you.
I'm also excited about this. Great. So tell me, where did it all start? You're currently occupying the National Marketing Director at Ferrari South Africa, but it must have started somewhere. Where did it all start? Where did the passion for marketing start? Just talk me through your career journey.
Absolutely. It's such an interesting story, and I think that's where most people find it quite intriguing.
Yeah.
I qualified with a degree in corporate communications from the University of Johannesburg in 2010, and upon graduating I was entering the business world. I always knew I wanted to get into business. At the time I had no aspirations to begin my own company or to enter the entrepreneurship field, but I entered the job space and I was applying for positions left, right and center. I always knew, I think since a young girl, that marketing was something special to me. I loved the combination of the analytical side together with the creative side, so I knew marketing was what I wanted to do. I just wasn't sure what field and what type of marketing.
What type of marketing, yeah.
I mean, as I said, I was applying left, right and center, and to my dismay, companies weren't hiring because it's great that you've got this degree, but you've got no experience to show for it. So I was rejected, and I was basically dismissed left, right and center. And out of desperation, I just said, you know what, I've just got to find a job at this point in time.
Lift your hands up.
Exactly. So there was an advert for a receptionist position on one of my friend's Facebook's pages, and I applied for the job and I took it on. So the very first position that I had was a receptionist role at BMW Santon Auto, and it was quite an interesting time because I knew it's a humble beginning, and I knew there was so much more that I wanted to do. I just wasn't sure how to go about doing it. Long story short, fast forward a year or two later, and I was approached by Ferrari and Maserati.
And can we stop? Because from being a receptionist, and firstly from trying to apply for your graduate programs, I would assume, or your entry level in the marketing, profession, and to landing yourself as a receptionist, and as you've mentioned, it's a humble beginning, to getting scouted. Okay.
Yeah, so it was
quite an interesting story.
It is an interesting story. So, as I said, I knew the difficulty of applying for a position because no one wants to give you a chance, and I understand the frustration. I understand how some people just need a platform just to prove themselves, so it really was a trying time, and which actually led me to creating the internship campaign that we've got at the company currently.
Oh, great.
That was basically my
giving back.
Contribution back, so it was just something that I wanted to do for people out there. I was basically approached by someone that I knew in a friendship circle, and they said they're hiring a position or hiring a marketing assistant for Ferrari and Maserati. And I still said, the motor industry, I don't know if I'm so interested, but you know what, it can't be worse than what I'm doing currently, and I'd like to take it on. So I joined Viglietti Motors at the time in 2011, and it's been an amazing journey since then. I've managed to, with a lot of support from my CEO and my COO, work through the company, and it's been really rewarding. Very challenging at the same time, don't get me wrong.
I can imagine.
But it's been something that
So everything that we see on the screens on Ferrari, it's got your brains on it.
Absolutely. So locally, it's got myself and the team's fingerprints on it, as we say. We work very closely with our head office as well. So it's a combination of the two. But it's been an amazing experience, and I'm truly honored to be here. I have, and I've got so many passions and so many interests, especially in the marketing field. And all I wanted to do was give people the platform to experience what I have through my little contributions back. So,
what led you to study marketing?
gosh, I think when I was a young girl, I think I wanted to go into teaching, and then I wanted to go into fashion design, and then I wanted to go into architecture. So I was very, very confused as a young student that I actually took a variety of different subjects in matric because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But when I joined, when I started my course at UJ, I felt that marketing was broad. So I was able to obviously, go out there and try something and experiment a little bit. So that's basically where my head was at when I made the decision.
Did you get any career advice, career guidance along the way?
From family, I would definitely say from family. The general conversation around the dinner table and the lunch table. I would say that I was always encouraged to follow my own path and what I felt I was being led to, and this was it apparently. So.
And you're still enjoying it?
I am still enjoying it. As I said, it's been an amazing opportunity to learn. So it's been good.
Tell me, so what does the role entail? National Marketing Director, Ferrari South Africa. That's huge.
Thank you.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Emma.
what does that role entail?
So basically we head up the marketing for Ferrari South Africa nationally. So we've got our branches in Johannesburg, Cape Town and Durban. We look after all the marketing functions, and marketing is very vast. So our day-to-day varies, from customer relations to budget planning to analytics to managing obviously KPIs and targets. Every day is complex and every day is different. But we look after the brand nationally for Sub-Saharan Africa.
And what advice would you give to aspiring marketing directors in terms of the line of subjects that they can choose from while they are in high school?
So in terms of subjects to study, I think for me you have to have a passion and an interest in something in order to be good at it. You have to have some sort of inclination to want to learn and to grow. So I would, as an aspiring marketer, find a balance between your analytical subjects possibly and something more creative. I took art in my matric year, and I don't know why really, because I wasn't ever going to become... It is a creative, exactly. And I think you do need a bit of a creative outlet as a marketer, because a big part of marketing is constantly innovating
and having that eye.
Exactly, and looking at things from a different perspective. So find a balance between different subjects, but something that you do have interest in and something that you enjoy.
Thank you for that. So what are the challenges while you were climbing corporate? What are the challenges that you had encountered?
There were a lot. As I said, starting out as a receptionist, I remember I was referred to as a glorified receptionist, because here I was, this
marketing
ambitious
degree.
Yeah, exactly, marketing degree, this ambitious, young girl, and I thought, the world's your oyster, and I was very soon humbled, and I was often belittled and referred to, as just a glorified receptionist, and it was very intimidating and very discouraging. But I think with a strong mindset, you manage to overcome those things. Also being a woman in a male-dominant industry, it's also sometimes quite challenging to be taken seriously. And I did feel that during the earlier years in my career. But with some good support and, with some good structure and again, a strong mindset, I think you overcome it.
So did you have people that support you while you were climbing the corporate ladder?
Absolutely. I owe a lot of credit to my COO and to my CEO. They believed in me from the start. When opportunities in the company became available to look from within to grow, they gave me those platforms to prove myself. So I'm eternally grateful for those. And I had to prove myself, but I said to them, I'm not afraid of hard work, and I think those are my exact words. I'm not afraid of hard work, and I would like to prove myself.
And you've proven yourself.
Well, I've done my best.
Still proving yourself, eh?
Still trying.
Yes. So how easy or difficult is it for women to climb the corporate ladder?
It's an interesting question. So I think it's very circumstantial. It depends on the organization, and it depends on the company culture and the politics and many other factors. It's not just somebody enters the working world and they work really hard and they get promoted or they work their way up. It really is, it depends on the person, it depends on the organization. So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it is possible. If you find the right support structure and you find the right mentorships and people that can guide you and help you make the right decisions, it is a possibility.
Do you believe in mentorship?
Absolutely. I think it's fundamental. From the bit of mentorship that I received in my past, I can speak from experience to say how it's extremely important to take talent that you see and help them grow, because it's very overwhelming and it's very intimidating. You know, where are we supposed to start? It can be lonely, and it's very, as I said, you know, you become discouraged because you're comparing yourself, especially in this day and age, you're comparing yourself to everyone's highlight reels on social media, and it seems so effortless and easy for people, but it's not always that case, you know, and it's not always the way it goes. So I think mentorship kind of aligns things for you and gives you a different perspective, and it makes things clearer. You know, sometimes when you've got too much on your plate and you can't think clearly about your next step, mentorship comes in.
And someone that has walked the path
exactly,
before you.
Exactly.
Makes it easier for you to walk so that you don't make the same mistakes.
Yeah, definitely, you know. And I always say, you know, success is not measured by what you do in your life. It's by what you help others achieve and what you inspire others to do. Exactly.
Yes, you've left behind.
Yeah.
So stats tells us that there are more than 277 South African companies listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange that don't have women representation, okay, and in their boardrooms. So what's your take on this?
I think it's a shocking statistic, to be honest, but it's understandable that at the moment I feel that is a very archaic way of doing business, and I think that it's something that some companies should possibly review in the near future. There's many studies that are happening at the moment, and there was one by the Stellenbosch University of Business that actually said that companies are actually, you know, that they should be taking advantage of the talent and the ability of capable women out there that can actually bring profitability and you know, success to the bottom line. So I think that it's something that needs to be reviewed, because you know, it's one of those things that unless it's been done, you know, you won't know what impact you've lost.
So what do women bring on the table?
Wow. As a woman myself, I speak transparently, but women of this era, and as I said to you earlier, are multitaskers. You know, they can juggle and they can work well under pressure. They are remarkable and they are relentless. If you give them a task, they will succeed in doing it no matter what, because I think they're extremely loyal, they're extremely passionate. Women are extremely hard workers, you know, but there's also, it's not just necessarily what I think about women, there's also a lot of statistics that have been proven, you know. There was a study done by McKinsey apparently, and they basically said that if companies are gender diverse, that the likelihood of them being 21% more profitable is the likelihood. So that's a great statistic to see, you know. And another study done by MSCI basically said that they, just by having women on their boards, the company boosted productivity. And I do believe that women can make your company productive and the bottom line productive. I think there was a saying that said, if you want something said, ask a man, and if you want something done, ask a woman. Exactly.
And I couldn't agree with you more. How important, or rather, what are the enablers of women development in leadership roles?
There are many, but I think platforms such as this are one of them. I think that if we look around us, there are communities and there are women all around that are willing to enable and empower those individuals that are willing to take the stance and to work their way up the corporate ladder, and just in general, in life in general. Women around have a need to share what they know, because I think it brings growth for them, and it brings some sort of satisfaction as well. You know, we love to share. We want to be able to help. I think it's ingrained in our DNA.
It is.
You know, it's ingrained in humanity at the end of the day. So
What does leadership mean for you?
Oh, good question. For me personally, I like to lead from the front. So I don't believe in just delegating. I'm the one at work helping, you know, put up the branding, sweep and mop and make sure that the events are running correctly. If I need to make a coffee for a customer or whatever the case is, I believe in leading from the front. I also believe it's about consistency, and it's about confidence, and it's about communication in essence. You know, you have to find a good balance between diplomacy but also assertiveness. You have to build relationships. So I
think relationships are very important in your leadership role, because you can't influence if you don't have those relationships.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have those relationships so that you can influence the spaces that you are in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tell me, what are the key traits of a great leader?
I would definitely have to say confidence. You know, as we mentioned earlier, confidence is crucial. It's the foundation of good leadership, because you've got to be able to stand your ground, and as I said, find the right platform to build relationships. But if you don't believe in yourself, and you don't believe in the ability of your work to make a difference, then and what you believe is going to make a difference, then you've kind of lost the game already. But that, together with consistency, I think are key, because consistency, as you said, it also helps you build reputation. You've got a long term to try and build relationships with people, but the longer you do it and the more consistently you do it, the better you become at it.
The better you become at it.
Exactly,
Yes, perfect
exactly.
it.
That's it.
Or
That's
refine.
It. Refine it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
refine. Because it can never be
Absolutely.
perfect sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we must get off this notion that we need to be perfect.
Absolutely.
But what's important is we're striving for greatness.
This is it.
Yes.
For me, I think one of my biggest downfalls, and maybe strengths, is perfectionism, because I'm constantly reminding myself that things don't have to be perfect before it gets done or gets submitted, So I think I drive myself a little bit crazy with my perfectionist
I'm a perfectionist too.
mentality. Absolutely. And
But
it's a good thing and a bad thing.
it's a good and a bad thing.
Exactly.
It's got its good places, it's got its bad places.
That's it.
I think it's all about identifying where can you place it,
Exactly.
and where can you withdraw it.
100%. And
Yeah,
finding a
but
balance
it must not
between
be at the detriment of your health.
Definitely. And I think it's extremely important. Mental health these days has become, some people call it a coin word, but it's a massive priority at the moment. You can drive yourself mad over deadlines and over creating the right presentation, but we've got to find a balance. So,
finding the balance is key. Chanelle, tell me, what are the values that have been entrenched in you to become the person that you are? Successful young person.
I think the main one would be independence. I was taught by my parents from a very young age to be independent and to be self-sufficient, and I think that in itself creates a ambitious and maybe a driven mentality. So I would say independence is probably one of the biggest values. So that, as well as empathy.
Yes.
So I think that's where a lot of...
Do you find you're applying a lot of that in your leadership roles?
Yes, definitely. Again, to a certain extent, because you've got to be assertive, but you also want to be empathetic to what people are going through around you, So and it's part of building relationships. I think it only helps when you're empathetic and you're cognizant of the fact that everybody's going through their own thing. Every individual is different, and their journey is different. So it does help, allow you to constantly build that relationship once you're aware of those factors as well.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to a short break. We'll be back shortly. We are speaking to Chanelle Prinsloo. She is the National Marketing Director for Ferrari South Africa. We'll be back shortly.
For more from Leaders in Conversation with Nomazibulo Tshanga, you can continue listening to the rest of this episode on your audio streaming service app. Our podcast is available on various audio streaming platforms. Details in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.